Coming up, there's tension brews at the University of Cape Coast following the termination of appointment of the Vice Chancellor by the Council Chairman. Now, meanwhile, the UCC says the decision is arbitrary, capricious, and devoid of any legal justification. The Governing Council, which is purported to have taken the decision, are distancing themselves from the decision, saying it was done without authority, and are asking all members to ignore same. Now, also, IPPs demand alternative sources of fuel to power their plant, warning it will impact stable power supply as Ghana Gas shuts down 2 of its critical gas processing plants for a 2-week-long safety maintenance.
For us as power producers, once fuel is not coming, it's going to affect the production. So it is required that our people, our managers, government will make available an alternative fuel supply.
But Ghana Gas has justified the shutdown, insisting it will not affect power supply in the coming days.
We have more than enough. We're producing almost about 300 to 280 million cubic feet of gas. So that is not to say that we don't have enough to put for power generation.
Also, Health Minister Dr. Okoboy says Service Auto Group Limited is yet to be paid money despite authorization from the Finance Ministry.
$1 has been given to the provider. It is actually a letter of credit that it is when the provider has actually performed and supplies the work executed that they are empowered to pay for the work done.
The independent power producers are demanding that Ghana Gas Company Limited provides alternative source of fuel for power generation following the shutdown of the latest critical gas processing plant and offshore gas export facilities for 2 weeks. According to Ghana Gas, the move is to enable critical and safety maintenance to ensure the plant's operational efficiency and uninterrupted power supply. But Chief Executive of the Independent Power Generators, Elikplim Akpetogbo, says if alternative source of fuel is not provided within the lean period during the maintenance, it will cause a shortfall and impact negatively on stable power supply.
The maintenance of our power systems infrastructure, including the gas pipeline, is a very important thing. Once maintenance is due, I think time must be allowed for it to be done. It is just an industry practice, and it is required that our managers of the sector do proper planning and coordination to help mitigate the adverse effects on the electricity supply during the maintenance period. Definitely for us as power producers, once fuel is not coming, it's going to affect the production. So it is required that our people, our managers, government will make available an alternative fuel supply. And also this fuel that will be made available should be optimized for proper output or for adequate output. I think there is something that is normal and can be managed very well without any adverse effect. Thank you.
Gas has justified the shutdown, insisting it will not affect power supply in the coming days because there is enough gas in the system. Ernest Osubempa is Corporate Communications Director at Ghana Gas.
At the moment, we have more than enough. We're producing almost about 300 to 280 million cubic feet of gas. So that is not to say that we don't have enough to put for power generation. So that is, your question is a non-starter. Once there's gas flowing, and we have made an alternative arrangement for that, definitely there will be gas flow for power generation.
What is the quantity of gas that will be lost in the course of this period?
It's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there when you're doing maintenance. That's why I've told you that we made an alternative arrangement. And don't forget, we have 350 million cubic feet of gas for power generation within the enclave of adding all the 3 Sankofa, Atuabo, plus the other one together combined, make us about 350 million cubic feet gas flow. Not forgetting West African gas pipeline, WAPCO as well, and the rest of it. So definitely there will be a lot of gas flow for power generation. So it's a non-starter. These are the off-takers. We have off-takers who are doing that. And Quantum and SEG, they have more than enough for their consumers on that. We are just doing what we call processing and transportation of gas for our off-takers to do the rest of the job. So I think they have more than enough to give. And there's not going to be any shortage of LPG.
Within that 2 week period?
Within our circle, what we produce, don't forget, we are not the one who produce the total gas flow for LPG in the country. Don't forget. Yes. So that's what I'm saying, that we have more than enough to give.
Let's now go to the University of Cape Coast, where tension is brewing following the termination of appointment of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Johnson Nyako Boampong, by the Council Chairman. Professor Boampong was initially appointed to a 4-year term in June 2020, which officially commenced in August of 2020. His tenure as Vice Chancellor of the university came to an official end on July 31, 2024. Despite a purported extension of his appointment for 2 years, a letter signed by the Chairman of the Governing Council, Professor Harold Amonu Kofi, declared this extension null and void. Let's share with you details of what this particular letter from the Chairman of Council says. It says, now, pursuant to your letter of appointment dated 17 June 2020, the University Council appointed you as Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast for a period of 4 years with effect from 1st August 2020. Now, it again says, the point 2 says, you are hereby notified that your appointment ended and terminated on 31st day of July 2024. It again says, please note that the purported renewal or extension of your appointment as Vice Chancellor at the Council's meeting on the 28th of July 2023 for a term of 2 years, effective 1st August 2024, is void and consequently same is revoked, as it breaches the university statute on renewal of appointment of Vice Chancellor. Now, this chairman goes on to say that the voidness of the aforementioned renewal is by reason of the following. He gives a reason why they're doing that. A, the compulsory retirement age for public servants is 60 years, as provided by Article 199, clauses 1 and 4 of the 1992 Constitution. Thus, quote, 199(1) says, a public officer shall, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, retire from the public service on attaining the age of 60 years, unquote. Now, it again says, it goes ahead to then say, the force says, notwithstanding clause 1 of this article, a public officer who has retired from the public service after attaining the age of 60 years may, where the exigencies of the service require, be engaged for a limited period of not more than 2 years at a time, but not exceeding 5 years in all and upon such other terms and conditions as the appointing authority shall determine, unquote. So this is the ground on which the chairman made this decision. He says, while your appointment may be extended by 2 years at a time up to a maximum of 5 years beyond your retirement age by contract, as provided in Article 199, Clause 4 above, there has not yet been any such contractual extension, and such extension is applicable only to your appointment as a member of the university in general, but not applicable to your position as the Vice Chancellor, since the university statute has placed a limit on same in Statute 8.2. And it says, Statute 8.2 of the university statute provides that your position as Vice Chancellor can be renewed or extended by up to 3 years. However, such an extension shall not exceed your retirement age of 60 years. Thus, quote, the Vice Chancellor shall hold office for an initial term of 4 years. The appointment may be renewed for a further term of up to 3 years if that is not beyond the statutory retirement age of 60, unquote. This is what the Chairman of Council is saying. Now, he concludes by saying that considering that you will be 60 years and due for compulsory retirement on the 18th of September 2025, which is next year, the 2 years renewal granted you by the Council effective 1st August 2024 would extend your position as Vice Chancellor well beyond your retirement age. This breaches the Constitution and the university statutes. So that is the statement that the chairman of the council brought. But let's share with you more, because the governing or the members of the council of the university have spoken, as well as the University Teachers Association of Ghana, which is UTAG, UCC chapter. They've also spoken, and they, according to them, they are saying that the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, University of Cape Coast branch, wishes to address the recent development concerning the letter from the chairman of the University of Cape Coast Council dated 31st July 2024, which unilaterally seeks to terminate the renewed term of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Johnson Nyanko Buampon. This is what UTAG is saying. Of course, Professor is a member of UTAG. Now, it goes ahead to say that, one, the council's decision on renewal, the University Council duly constituted, met on 28 July 2023, which was, of course, is last year, and renewed the term of Professor Johnson Nyanko Buampon for a period of 2 years, effective from 1st August 2024, today, extending his term to end on 31st July 2026, 2 years. This decision was made following all required procedures and in compliance with the university's statute. So the teachers are referring the council chairman to the statute of the university, that the council looked at that before they arrived at that conclusion. They again say that, and they talk about the legality of the chairman's letter. They say the letter from the council chair dated 31st July 2024, stating the termination of the vice chancellor's renewed term is improper, without merit. They say the claim that the renewal breaches the university statute and the constitution are unfounded. That's what the UTAG is saying. Then UTAG goes ahead to say that the renewal was conducted with full consideration of all legal and statutory requirements. On this basis, the action of the council chair is arbitrary, capricious, and devoid of any legal justification. And they conclude by saying that, quote, we reject it outrightly. So that is what UTAG is saying. Now, they again talk about ongoing court proceedings. Then they alert us to what is happening in the court now. It says it is important to note that this matter is currently sub judice, with an injunction application pending in court that restrains the chairman and the council, their agent and assigns, from taking any action. So this is what, the University Teachers Association, UCC branch, saying. Let's again share with you what members of the governing council, the same governing council which is shared by Professor Harold Amonu Kofi, some members have been speaking. They say that we have cited with shock a letter solely and privately written by the chairman of council, Professor H.S. Harold Amonu Kofi, purporting to terminate the appointment of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Johnson Nyanko Buampon. So that's the church members talking. They say we, members of the council, can state emphatically that no such decision has been made by council in any of our meetings whatsoever. Now, council met on 30th of July 2023, and no such matter was discussed. Neither was any such decision made. We asked the chairman to produce for us the minutes of the said meeting which took this decision. They are referring to the decision that terminates the appointment of Professor Buampon as Vice Chancellor. They say this decision is therefore solely the decision of the chairman in arbitrariness with gross disregard to the membership of the council. Then they say that we also note with all displeasure and serious concern the whimsical and capricious behavior of the chairman of council in matters relating to the university. So these are members of the council that he chairs. They are speaking here. Now they say members of council in most cases only cite correspondence in the public domain without the benefit of being consulted or being informed on matters which will require collective decision. Well, so this is what they're saying. We are by this letter disassociating ourselves from the decision communicated by the chairman of council purporting to terminate the appointment of the vice chancellor, and wish to further state emphatically the vice chancellor is still at post and doing his duty with support of the entire council and management. It says this unilateral and private letter which was served on the vice chancellor via WhatsApp message is contrary to the university statute and a dangerous precedent which should not be entertained in any academic environment. This is coming at a time that the Vice Chancellor has been appointed as the chairman of Vice Chancellors Ghana, okay, and the board chairman of the Association of West African Universities. So this is the concern that members of the council are raising, and they conclude by saying that, quote, we are aware that the Vice Chancellor's term was validly renewed by a duly constituted council. This, therefore, is a decision that council members uphold and not the purported arbitrary revocation by just one individual, and hereby request the chair to withdraw this letter, which was done without authority, and ask all members to ignore same. So this is what the governing council members, and they call themselves, concerned members of the governing council, and signed by several of them. Okay, so that's it. Let's bring in a council member who is part of the group that calls itself Concerned Members of the UCC Governing Council, Dr. Jerry Opokwansa. He is also the UTAG UCC president. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, share with us, how does the university decide on appointing a vice chancellor? And this must be brief, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Our statute 8, clearly prescribes how a vice chancellor is appointed.
Okay.
It talks about when there's a vacancy, meaning that the vice chancellor, we don't have a vice chancellor, or when the vice chancellor has retired, and therefore there will be a search committee that will be constituted by council. And so, if you want to ask me how a vice chancellor is appointed, that is the procedure for appointing a vice chancellor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your letter states that there's a case in court. What is that case? What is it about?
Yeah, so the current vice chancellor, as you clearly read out from the chairman's letter and other letters that have come out, this year, July 31st, his initial term of 4 years came to an end. Now, per our statute 8.2, it talks about the fact that the vice chancellor's tenure can be renewed up to a maximum of 3 years.
Okay.
Until attainment of the age of 60. So when the previous council met and renewed the current vice chancellor's tenure for additional 2 years, ending July 31st, 2026, someone took the matter to court on the age that by July 2026, you'll be more than 60.
Okay.
The vice chancellor, as we speak, you'll be 60 next year, September 18th. So the matter is in court, and so I don't want to talk about court issues.
Okay.
The matter.
Okay. But can't it be the case that your chairman wanted to save the face of the university, and of course, you stated earlier that the renewal of the vice chancellor's tenure should not be above the retired age of 60. That's why they gave him 2 years. So he wanting to save the face is trying to say, let him then, revoke that earlier extension given. Isn't that a decision that you council members should support?
Yes. So if it is a council decision, status 4.1, it talks about council, and council is made up of a body. So the council chairman chairs council. So if it is a decision of council of the University of Cape Coast that took that decision, we all as members will support. That is why some of us as council members have come out that this is not a decision of council.
Okay.
So council has not taken any decision whatsoever on the renewal of the vice chancellor. And it is interesting to know that the council chairman make reference to council. Okay. And it's the same council that renewed the sitting vice chancellor's tenure.
Okay.
And so if it is council, and in fact the statutes give powers to council to appoint and revoke appointment. So it is only council that can appoint and terminate the appointment of a sitting vice chancellor, pro vice chancellor, or a registrar. So in this instance, it's not, council has not met, and so our position is that the chairman has acted ultra vires. It is his unilateral decision, and it's against our statutes.
Okay. Once you know he's going to retire next year, if it comes to council that decide on it, will you support that his appointment be revoked?
as I said, the matter is in court. So once the matter is in court, we wait for the decision of the court.
Okay.
And
all right.
if the decision of the court is in that direction, council will definitely take the decision of the court and then and look at the way forward. Yes.
I'm grateful to you, Prof, for joining us here. Dr. Jerry Opoku is president of UTAG and a council member of the University of Cape Coast Governing Council. Away from that, the opposition National Democratic Congress is fighting off claims that it is deliberately targeting and peddling falsehoods against President Akufo-Addo. The reaction follows the latest outburst by President today, claiming that, quote, the opposition political party, unquote, is masterminding what he describes as false narrative that he was responsible for the death of his late wife. The president also says the same group of political opponents are behind the rumor mongering of the controversial Japadia book, which authors say represents a grand scheme for state capture under President Akufo-Addo. Speaking at the Ghana Report Summit under the theme dealing with misinformation and disinformation in the upcoming election, President Akufo-Addo called on Ghanaians to reject fake news. As he says, politics must be based on issues devoid of personal attacks. There's more in the following report.
With less than 200 days to the 2024 general elections, the Ghana Report Summit is seeking to tackle misinformation and disinformation, which arguably remains the biggest threat to the democratic exercise. Rashida Sani is convener of the forum.
No democracy, we all believe, will thrive without information. And indeed, no democracy would equally thrive in the case of disinformation operations, misinformation, and fake news. As a media organization committed to the principles of these free speech and the integrity of information, but we believe at the Ghana Report that a well-informed public is the cornerstone of a thriving democracy. However, we are acutely aware of the dangers misinformation and disinformation poses to our intellectual integrity and our democratic thrive.
To avert the danger, a passionate appeal is being made to the media to fact-check information which is disseminated to the general public.
And again, we stand no chance at preserving the peace of the state when the media and civil society organizations allow themselves to become purveyors of misinformation and disinformation in furtherance of a parochial political agenda. And most importantly, we risk plunging the country into a deep state of chaos when politicians are allowed to misinform the electorates by uttering divisive, inflammatory comments to advance their political interests.
It is through the act of voting that we participate in this governance process of our nation, ensuring that those who lead us are accountable. I appeal to Ghanaians and to all well-meaning citizens of this nation to take the responsibility to vote solemnly and avert voter apathy.
In a rare outburst against what it describes as disinformation campaign instigated by his political opponents, President Akufo-Addo played out attacks on his political campaign, which he describes as falsehood.
I was the target of numerous false and malicious stories aimed at attacking my credibility and integrity. In 2008, baseless allegations of drug trafficking were spread, along with numerous rumors about my health, intended to cast doubt on my ability to serve as president. Again, the 2012 election saw false reports of my alleged arrest in London for drug possession and fabricated quotes designed to stir ethnic tensions. In 2016, it was alleged by sympathizers of the opposition that I had killed my late wife. Today, with a few months to the December 2024 elections, they are at it again. A fabricated document entitled a Japadia is being peddled around by operatives of the opposition as evidence of a grand scheme by my party to annex the assets of the state. These experiences underscore the importance of discerning truth from falsehood and the need for all of us to remain vigilant against the dangers of misinformation and disinformation. In addition to these efforts, I'm pleased to announce the government is in the process of putting in place a national action plan to combat misinformation and disinformation.
Ultimately, organizers of the Ghana Report Summit are hopeful that by addressing misinformation and disinformation, Ghana could once again deliver a peaceful elections and retain the top spot as the beacon of democracy. Blessed Sugan's report for Joy News, Accra.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Let's do more. Now, Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy has told the Assurance Committee of Parliament Service Auto Group Limited is yet to be paid despite Finance Ministry authorizing that they are paid for servicing some ambulances. The $34 million contract has become the subject of controversy following revelations by North Tongue MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Now, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, responding to questions from the North Tongue MP, explained that the BOG has informed him no money has been paid to the group yet.
Because of the public interest, I spoke to one of the deputy governors who have a working relationship when I was at health insurance. And the deputy governor made me aware that this is lodged with them, but not even $1 has been given to the provider. She used some terms, like I said, I'm not a finance person, that it is actually a letter of credit, that it is when the provider has actually performed, supplied parts to certain tunes and supplies the work executed, that they are empowered to pay for the work done. And so the governor made me understand that they have it with them, but they've not paid. Again, the processes, controller to BOG saying we've not paid any amount. All these are trails which as state actors should be willing to give information. I deliberately didn't make my PR team put in this part of BOG not having paid $1, because I believe that they also as an organization, if called upon, should be able to say it for themselves. But I'm saying all this so that those watching know that all actors, once they are in the process, should be armed with relevant documents to show what they've done.
So this $34.9 million contract, do you have a copy? Who signed the contract? Have you seen the contract?
All I'll say is that, with all due respect, whatever is required of us, once there are documents or activities that we as a ministry have engaged in, we'll make it available.
So can we get a copy of the contract? We want to see a copy of this $34.9 million contract.
Honorable Chair, any document which is a public document executed on our books is for public record. It is only if it is not a record executed within my end that will suffer difficulty. But otherwise, we don't have a problem with it.
But North Tongue MP has been criticizing the government for awarding such a contract to a company that has been cited by the Auditor General report for so many infractions.
Report of the Auditor General on fleet management of the National Ambulance Service, which was published May 25th, 2022.
Honorable Chair, I've cited the document. Yeah, I've cited it.
And you've read it, or you only cited it?
Oh, when these issues became a matter of public interest, I tried to get as much as information as I can. So I got it, but I don't think I've exhausted the whole document. I know it exists, yeah.
This Auditor General's report, I will, on behalf of colleagues, admonish you to kindly read it fully. You really be worried about the state of our National Ambulance Service, But more importantly, you will be shocked that Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, after the indictment, that they over-invoice, they were not even registered when they were asked to come and service this company. It was not an incorporated company. They were working 8 months before they signed a contract on September 10th of 2020. They're engaging in shady dealings. They don't even have staff. They are using National Ambulance staff to carry out this servicing. Very damning report. Why will you, after this report, give this same company a $34.9 million? I mean, is there value? Did you do a value for money audit?
Now, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has been pressing the minister to commit to not release any more money to the company.
What I would say is that as a public servant, I wouldn't do anything that would break the financial rules or jeopardize our resources. I act judiciously. That's what I would say. Thank you.
No, Minister, you haven't said anything. We don't understand what you have said. It sounded like Greek. Please break it down to our understanding. You know, my vice chair says that she doesn't understand. I'm sure ranking member doesn't understand. Can you be clear and specific and definite? This is Assurances Committee.
Honorable Chair, yes.
We don't joke with our assurances.
Honorable Chair, with all due respect, because of the matters surrounding this arrangement, for an officer who is connected to say, I will not even do further payments or commitments, some way, somehow, that in itself brings you into the matters. All I'm assuring you is that I know that I am accountable to the state and to those who appointed me. And so, just as you would expect of me, I would only act in a manner which is in tandem with the financial rules and would be very judicious with how I apply resources.
Well, Honorable Minister, a while ago you confirmed that there is no parliamentary approval for this. So, under what basis are you going to continue these payments? Parliament has not approved $34.9 million, not in the health budget, not in finance budget, not in the NHIA formula. So, I mean, what's going on in our country?
Honorable Chair,
you have to be clear about this.
Honorable Chair, with all due respect, the accounts have a proverb that those who are wise, you don't speak in plain language with them. All the references you've made are references anchored in financial rules. So if I'm saying that, I'll operate in a way that is in tandem with the financial rules, and I will not jeopardize our resources. With all due respect, it's a preset language, Honorable Chair. You are safe.
Well, the minister has also been admonishing Okudzeto-Ablakwa to stop passing judgment against the company since the matters are still under investigation.
Matters of apparent impropriety or corruption. Biblically, even God who made the universe and all of us says that when he makes an accusation, he calls on the subject to come and state their part. And I know that those who have done law is one of the fundamental principles, that no matter how convincing the case looks from the plaintiff, the defendant should at least be given a chance to also state their part. I know as a senior in PRESEC, you've had some crusades in various areas, but I always have this abiding stance that if even on the surface, all the ingredients of your case is very appealing and almost concluding of corruption, I will still have the patience for those who are named or alleged to also say something. So, Honorable Chair, I would like to indulge you so that we allow, I call them third parties. I believe that if I make a case as a ministry against a vendor or a stakeholder, it will not be fair for me to be the judge. So we should allow, and I'm happy that a third party, like I call them third because they are outside you and the vendor. I'm happy that a third party like SP has come to interview you. We should allow any third party established by law that calls upon us will provide the necessary support. And I believe that vendor is not above the law. That vendor would also show up. So
all right, let's do showbiz now. And Becky Bex is here, and today, okay, I'm not going to say what I told her, but she's looking sweet. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
Let's talk about a beautiful lady. She has a deep love for quality education and a passion for social issues, which drove her to venture into education by establishing the Just Like Mama Daycare and Yvonne Nelson's International School. But what was her motivation? Nicholas Ekoyamwa caught up with the Ghanaian actress and at the graduation of the 2024 class of Just Like Mama Daycare and inauguration of a school, Yvonne Nelson International School.
Many Ghanaian celebrities have ventured into private businesses. They are all driven by passion, job creation, and the desire to diversify their income streams. Actress Yvonne Nelson is one of them. She has ventured into educational entrepreneurship by setting up the Just Like Mama Daycare. But what inspired her to enter the field of education?
She'll come home with a bruise, with an insect bite, and you'd expect the school to call you to report before she gets home, but then you, the mother or the parent, would notice before, the school even says anything. So that was like a red flag. And with the academics too, I wasn't really getting anything from her from school, because I believe that for parents, you should see a change in their vocabulary, the things they're saying. They're using please, thank you, mommy. There was none of that happening. So I just knew because I'm such a, I watch everything my daughter does. I help her with reading. I print flashcards for her. I'm really into education. So I got a little worried, and I thought to myself, this is something that I can actually do and do well, because I'm a very passionate human being.
Yvonne Nelson did not stop just at establishing a daycare center. She explains how her parents of her Just Like Mama Daycare Center encouraged her to provide them with a primary school facility so they can have more comprehensive educational options.
And so we had a few parents who kept asking us, so Yvonne, after kindergarten, what's next? And I thought they were joking. I thought it was just, something to make my head feel big and all of that. But no, they actually meant what they were saying. They wanted their kids to stay here. So then we had to register a primary school and make Yvonne Nelson International School happen.
The celebrated actress, also known for her book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson, reveals how she is able to juggle between school management and the daunting activities of filmmaking. Nicholas Ekoyamwa's report for Joy News.
Best of news. I mean, I don't like couples separating.
I can understand that.
I pray that you could find a ground to settle this amicably. But yeah, anyway, all the best to them. Well, thanks for watching the news today. Remember to brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent, because you know what? With Pepsodent, every smile matters. Like Becky's on. Well, thank you so much from wherever you are. We're grateful that you could join us. There's more on myjoyonline.com.